Previously on the last Pokémon Crystal challenge run, Azalea Town, home of the Slowpoke and the Incinerator, and coming up, well, I want people to think I'm really hot. I've been looking through the archive of challenge runs that we've done together here on the channel, and can you believe it's been nearly 3.5 years since we last saw QUAGSIRE. It has had a total of 1 run as a standard QUAGSIRE here on the channel, back in October 2022, so I'm very glad it's a patient Pokemon and it definitely deserves a redo. Last time we got somewhere in the region of 2 hours with its challenge run. This time I'm hoping to completely decimate that time. Now, I've been thinking a little bit about the learn set, and there are many ways you can play a QUAGSIRE. However, I do think the most important move for us is Amnesia. That is going to boost our special defense, and my goodness, we will need that. We have a quad weakness to grass, and there are an awful lot of grass type moves in this challenge. Now, as for offensive moves, I am going to keep it simple. I don't think there's any need to reinvent the wheel. We're going to go for Earthquake in our 4th slot. In our top slot, we will go for Surf. That's being a very good stab move for our QUAGSIRE. And then targeting purely Lance's Dragons, we will go for Ice Beam in slot number 2. I think those moves together are going to give us the best chance of having a smooth and consistent run through to Red, where we're not taking random resets here and there because nonsense strategies did not pay off. Let me know though, what would you pick for QUAGSIRE? You've got quite a lot of moves to choose from, but remember you can only commit to 4 at the start of the challenge. We are though level 5 with a berry in our hand. We've got Surf, Ice Beam, Amnesia and Earthquake. We have 25 HP with 14 in attack and defense, 13 in the specials and 10 in speed. So we have our moves, we have our Pokemon, and that means the challenge can get underway. The timer has started and now will not stop fully until we have defeated Red. I'm really looking forward to seeing how well QUAGSIRE does. Like I mentioned in the intro, it's been a very long time since I have worked alongside a QUAGSIRE, but it is one of my all-time favourite Pokemon. I think it's so adorable, and it is highly underrated. A lot of the issues we faced in the last challenge was because we started with a Wooper, and even though I love Wooper, it isn't the best base stats wise. It's one of the lowest you will see in Generation 2. So I think by virtue of that alone, and not even factoring in the fact that we have 4 very strong moves at the start of this challenge, we're going to end up with a much quicker time than before. Realistically speaking, I want to try and get under 1.5 hours. Whether it will happen, I don't know, but that is my aim. The rival's going to have the Chikorita line throughout the course of this challenge. It's going to provide the biggest threats to us, especially with our quad weakness to grass, so it just made sense to me to go for Chikorita there. Now, QUAGSIRE is the start of a little run of videos. Well, I say a run of videos, a little grouping of videos with some others interspersed in between, where I'm going to be focusing on those Pokemon that either we haven't seen for a very long time here on the channel. Things like QUAGSIRE, we've also got Executor, Hypno, maybe even Fortress, if I can be brave enough to run Fortress again, as well as Pokemon we haven't yet seen on the channel. So Espeon and Umbreon will finally get their outing very soon. I want to give Cloyster another attempt. We did that on a stream many moons ago. Plus, there are some other Pokemon as well on the list that are well in need of a run. So that's the plan going through from here in the end of March into April and probably even the beginning of May. It's not going to be exclusively those Pokemon, but that is going to be the main focus on the channel. I unfortunately didn't have time to run Supermon this month. The big April 1st video took up a lot of time. It's already up for HM Friends, and when you see it, you will see why it took so much time to produce, but it does mean that we are going to be running Supermon every 2 weeks starting from next month. It's going to be Supermon Saturdays. Every other Saturday we will have a Supermon challenge, because as it turns out, I do actually have a little bit more spare time next month. It's just the way things panned out this month. Let's take on Falkner now. He is our first gym leader. He is a flying type specialist, leads with Pidgey. We of course one-shot the Pidgey, out comes the Pidgeotto. We're not going to outspeed anything in this gym, but we do knock it out in 2 hits. That gets us the Death Badge in 2 minutes and 54 seconds. Let us now get out of here. We'll get the call from Elm so that we can get the escape rope. And I'm also going to do a very quick PowerPoint heal while we are here. With that, we shall leave. Now, you may be able to tell I am full of the joys of spring today, and by that I mean I've got blooming hay fever up the wazoo. I have tried all the old wives' tales at this point. I have tried all the medications, and now it seems to be working. It's a nasty old beginning to the pollen season here in the United Kingdom, so I'm hoping that eventually it will just leave, and I will be able to breathe out of both nostrils again, but maybe that's a little bit of wishful thinking. In the meantime, though, I will keep powering through. I do want to take on these hikers, actually. They're very, very good in terms of the old defensive experience. Plus, they're all going to be quad weak to our Surf, so it makes sense to take them both on. This is one of those Pokemon where we're not looking for peak efficiency. There is probably going to be a much, much faster way of doing this challenge, but it would be a lot riskier, and because we always go for the first attempt on this channel, there is some balance between consistency and risk. Every so often, if I'm running one of those top tier Pokemon, I will do the risky strats, but with something like QUAGSIRE, I'd much rather have a smooth and consistent run where we can be proud of the end result. That's why I'm taking on a few extra trainers around here. Now we'll get ourselves the full heal here in the Slowpoke well. We will then also procure, how many repels should we get? We'll get 8 today, and we'll top up with some super potions. We'll have a quick chat with good old Kurt here in his house. He's got the very, very, very fashionable Mohawk in Generation 2, and then on his back he's grown it out, so it must have taken him a very long time to get into the Slowpoke well there. We've got a pair of rats to begin with, and we don't even need to think about quick attack in this one. We've got 35 speed. It's going to be faster than us regardless. That's going to be one of our issues. We're going to need to get the Quickie Seed quick sharpen in a hurry, and then hopefully once we've got that Quickie Seed, things will start to speed up. You can negate a lot of the negative effects from your lack of speed just by virtue of having a Quick Claw. It is kind of useful like that. We are going to use Surf here for the most part, and now that we've run out of Surfs, we'll swap to an Earthquake for this coughing. It should be a nice and easy one-shot there. We don't have the greatest offensive stats in the world, but Earthquake is 100 base power, so it's going to do an awful bloody lot regardless. Let's get ourselves into gym number 2 now. I'm going to use Surf for the most part here because I seem to remember that most of these Pokemon have a slightly weaker special defense compared to physical defense. That is definitely true of a Pokemon like Caterpie, so I think a Surf is definitely the best move there, and the same for the Weedle. Growing up to level 15, we will take on all of the trainers in here. They are all going to be relatively simple battles, so it just makes sense to get the experience when it's practically handed to you on a plate. Even Beedrill can go down to a one-shot from Earthquake. This isn't Bunny, Bugsy, this is Josh. I think this is Josh. He has a Paras, he had a Paras, it's been frozen. He'll have to let it go. Let us now take on Bugsy, gym leader number 2. He is a Bug-type specialist who led with a Metapod. One shot on Metapod, that means it's one shot on the Kakuna. Out comes the Scyther, he's going to cut furiously and we'll just crit him. That works. Hive Badge acquired in 7 minutes and 5 seconds. Up next is Rival 2. Now this one has the potential to be a little bit tricky. Not necessarily the worst battle in the world, but definitely the chance of being tricky. We're going to boost our Spadef, we don't get paralysed by Lick, and we surf away the Ghastly. Razor Leaf hits, still does a lot of damage, but it does not crit. That's what we need, because then we can one-shot the Zubat, and we do just about make it through. without a reset. That is the beauty of Amnesia. Without Amnesia, we would not have been able to survive those Razor Leafs. That means we can now start heading our way through the Ilex Forest. We don't want to spend too much time in here, of course, because our QUAGSIRE is scared of anything that even remotely resembles a plant, and there are plants everywhere here. So we will be very kind and get out quick, sharp, and in that hurry. Don't need to get headbutt today. No use for it in our 4 moves challenge, but we will grab the pair of ethers, and we'll also get the sweet sense TM. That will come in useful for a bit of money later on. I am actually factoring in another place to get some extra money. On the middle entrance of Mount Mortar, you can spend about 25 seconds or so getting a couple of items that will sell for a total of 1 vitamin. So it could be worth doing on some challenges. In the meantime though, we are in Goldenrod City. We'll go and procure ourselves the bicycles so that we can move in double quick time. We will immediately register that in the bag, and then we'll start cycling down into the underground. We have a couple of trainers we've got to get through here, starting off with Mr. Slowpoke Man. We don't want to surf on that, we want to use an Earthquake. Growing up to level 19, and we can Earthquake t'other one as well. Let's take on Teru now, so we don't have to think about him during the rocket section. Should be a very simple battle. We are, of course, immune to electric type moves, so he can't really do anything at all to us. He can miss his tackle. That's about the best he's got. We'll get rid of him. We will also grab the coin case, and we'll beat up this Lickitung. Always happy to beat up Isak's Lickitung, and we'll just use an Earthquake to dispose of it. With that, we will then use our escape rope, get out of here, and we will go and get ourselves the Rentalabra from the game corner. It is completely free of charge for us because we are cheapskates here in Goldenrod City, and now we'll start making our way up. We are going to take on Kim today. No sense in not taking her on. She's got a fire-type Pokemon. We've got a water ground. It was always going to be an easy battle. We don't want to take on Ivan, but I do think that Walt could be a clever move as well. Of course, the level 11 Bumhead Fireduck outspeeds us, but we do not get burnt. That's what we like to see, and now we can get the most important item of the challenge, the Quickie Sea there. That is going to be very, very, very useful. In fact, we're going to hold it straight away. I do think we're able to get through Mark. He might flash us, but I still think it's worth taking on. He has a lot of special stat experience locked behind him, and that is going to boost our special defense by quite some way. Same here with the Tangler. It's got a lot of special attack, so if we use a single Ice Beam, we can then boost our special defense stat experience, because they are, of course, shared in Generation 2. With that, we shall Rentalabra our way back to the Pokemon Center. We will have a cheeky little heal, and we will make our way in to gym number 3. Now, this is Whitney's normal type gym. She does have Last Carry, making a right old carry-on guarding her here, but I don't think she'll be any issue. We'll swap Earthquake to top spot for a little bit now, grow up to level 22, and Carry is down. Up next is Whitney herself, gym leader number 3, normal type specialist, leads with Clefairy. We one-shot the Clefairy, we're going to resist rollout, so I don't think there's much that Whitney can do. 7 HP of damage in that entire gym battle. That means we can get the playing badge in a time of 12 minutes on the nose. Let's now leave here, and we do need to remember to get to the old squirty bottle, otherwise we ain't going to be able to get past that tree and the run will be over very, very quickly. So let's do that right now. I don't think we need to PP heal. Get off the bike here, and then get back on. We've learned that if you get off the bike there on Route 35, then with the spinners into rotators, you're never going to get an encounter from them. We will then get ourselves the Big Hammer plus Rock Smash to sell some money, And now we'll make our way north. We aren't going to see any grass types at all on the following routes, so I do think it is worth us taking a trip towards Olivine City now. We will probably need the Minceberry for the Morty battle anyway, so it just makes sense. We can get rid of Olivia for some decent stat experience. We'll get the Mintberry and the Cowpoo Nugget. We'll bypass Norman. But today we will take on both Derek and Struthruth. I think both of these are going to be very, very easy to take on. No sense in not taking them on. They've both got a Pikachu. Both are electric type Pokemon. And both are going to go down in one hit apiece. Even their double teaming ways could not save them. Here in Olivine City, we will have a little chat with the rival. He's going to talk some nonsense. We don't listen, we just stick our fingers in our ears and pretend he doesn't exist. We'll get our 11 Super Repels from the Pokemart. Have a little chat with the Burly Man so we can get his phone number. He's got some boulders to move over in Cianwood a little bit later on. We will then do a very quick PP heal. And it's time to start climbing the lighthouse. And so here in the lighthouse we will have a fairly smooth climb up actually. I think this Noctowl is going to be the hardest of all the Pokemon, and we crit it to get it down in 2 hits. Hypnosis missing there as well. I do have to say it's a little bit mean of them putting a Noctowl with Hypnosis as a mandatory Pokemon here in the lighthouse. It's almost as if they didn't foresee 25 years later, people like me would be daft enough to try and get through the entire challenge with just one Pokemon. Definitely the kind of thing that they couldn't have foreseen. Earthquake is putting in the work here against the Marill. We're going to skip that Sailor for now. We might take him on later on. And we are going to pick up that Super Repel. We'll have a little chat with Jasmine. Unfortunately, Ampharos isn't feeling well again today. Seems to be a recurring theme, doesn't it? We'll escape rope out and we'll make our way into the next Pokemon Center, do a quick PP heal, and then we'll be back on our way towards Ecruteak City. Now, we don't want to take on anyone en route here, apart from the Kimono girls who live just in this dance theatre. We're going to try and get as much XP as possible before taking on the third rival battle. If we can boost our experience just a little bit higher, then we stand a greater chance of getting through on our first attempt at rival number 3. Now, we do have the bonus of the rival leading with Haunter in a moment, which means it's going to swear at us on turn 1, but we still can't be too risky. We'll get up to level 26, courtesy of all of these Kimono girls here. All of them very easy battles, and with that, we'll chat with the man staring at the stage. We will get ourselves a raft. Even though our QUAGSIRE can surf if he wants to, we will still do that fully legitimately. Let's get ourselves into the Burnt Tower now, though. We'll stick on another Repel, and we will engage the rival in his third and middle battle. This time he is going to lead with his Haunter. We are going to set up an Amnesia as it swears at us. We are then going to take 1 turn of curse damage, and we've been paralysed. Not a great start here. Raise Leaf hits very, very hard. We take some curse damage. We have to take a reset. Let's make sure we're at full health, and let's try again. The rival battles, when you've got a quad weakness, are always going to be tricky, especially when you get paralysed. Paralysis is awful against the rival here. We do need to set up the Amnesia, and then we will use an Ice Beam here. We've not been paralysed by Lick this time. That means we get the outspeed. As long as he doesn't crit, Reflect is even better. That should mean we have the win. We Ice Beam the Zubats, we grow to level 27. Out comes the Magnemite, we finish it off with Earthquake, and we are through a rival battle. And it's kind of refreshing, actually, that the rival's a threat for once. Good job, rival. It's about bloody time. Let's release those beasts, let's use the escape rope, and let's get the HP up before going into our next gym together. Now, this is going to be the dual Ghost and Poison type gym, so we should have a fairly good time of it in here. And now, as we are making our way through the mandatory trainers here, I do just want to mention I'm towards the end of my recording cycles. I generally plan around 3 to 4 months in advance, so that means that the cycle that started at the beginning of this year is coming to an end. But that also means I am now open to suggestions. I've got all of April planned, but May onwards is looking fairly empty. So if there are any Pokemon you would like to see in the 4 Moves Challenge, or maybe even in Supermon, now is the time to let me know so that I can plan. Obviously I'm not going to be able to get towards every single Pokemon that's suggested, but I will definitely give it a very good try to get as many of them done as possible. But with that, we will take on Morty. He is Gym Leader number 4, a Ghost and Poison type Spectacular Leader who leads with Ghastly. I have realised I have forgotten to equip the Mint Berry here, but I don't know how much difference that will make in the grand scheme of things anyway. It's going to be 50-50, and the Quick Claw ends up being the item to save the day. Fog Badge acquired in 1909 in total. That means we can now start heading east. We've already taken on the Kimono Girls, so we don't need to worry about them, and we can progress towards the Lake of Rage. We are going to take on our standard Pokemaniac Miller here. All of our offensive moves are super effective against him, so we might as well just use a couple of Surfs. Get rid of him very easily, and then we'll leave via the escape rope. No need to walk. We'll do a very quick wander around that spinner there. The repel will wear off. It's all happening all at once. So we'll have to stick on a super repel probably at this point for the next little bit. I am going to get the extra bitter berry that lives in this tree here. It could come in very useful. And I do want to take on this Pokemaniac with his Slowbro. I reckon a couple of Earthquakes will be enough to knock it out. And we will actually, yeah, let's take on the Nidoking as well. Makes very good sense to do this Nidoking. He is going to get us up to level 31, providing a lot of experience points there. We're going to use a quick Super Potion, get ourselves up to roughly maximum health, and we'll take on the Gyarados. We're going to use Ice Beam because that's the only move that's going to be any good against this Gyarados, and he's just having a really bad time of it, isn't he? Getting locked into Thrash. Never mind. We take a reset. That wasn't part of the plan. I thought we were having a really good time of it there, but as it turns out, we were not. We'll give it another go. I don't think this is a particularly tricky battle for our QUAGSIRE. We've frozen it, and we do get through. Gyarados is kind of one of our Achilles heel Pokemon, to be fair. It's not exactly an easy Pokemon to deal with when you've only got water, ice, and ground type moves. But we only see 3 Gyarados throughout the course of the challenge, so it's not something we have to worry ourselves with quite so much in this one. We'll get the rare candy living at the tree here. We won't bother with anything else, and we'll take on Mahogany a little bit later on. I think we'll be absolutely fine doing regular standard routing. And we'll start that by crossing the open seas. I'll use a regular repel here to cross open towards Cianwood. I don't think we need anything more powerful than that. We will risk the 4 steps or so that we don't get with our repel. Into the dodgy shop we go. We'll pick up the secret potion. And now we'll make our way in to gym number 5. This is the fighting type gym, but I think we've got a very strong fighting chance of getting through it. We are going to be slower than most of the things in here. I am considering actually picking up some Carbos for our QUAGSIRE. I'm just wondering if it's worth it at all, or whether 35 is just way too low to waste money on trying to boost our very bad speed. It's one of those, I'll make a decision in a little while. It could be better to boost our special to try and increase our stopping power and our staying power against any of those pesky grass type moves. But I don't think we have to worry about any grass type moves now until Rival 4. because any Pokemon with a grass type move we see until then, we should be able to outspeed and one-shot with Ice Beam. And if we can't one-shot it with Ice Beam, we'll one-shot it with Earthquake instead. Let us now equip probably which berry? Do we go for the Mint Berry here? I think we go for the Mint Berry here with the Chuck battle, and we'll engage him in battle. This is Chuck, Gym Leader number 5, Fighting type Specialist, leads with Primeape. Leah's annoying, but doesn't really mean that much overall. Dynamic Punch has landed. Goodness me, I thought he was going to try and send us to sleep. Didn't matter in the end either way. We two-shot the Poliwrath there. Didn't end up hitting ourselves in confusion, and we do get the badge in at 23:33. Goodness me, I can't read today. Amongst everything else I seemingly cannot do. Let us take a very quick heal here, and then we will make our way back towards Olivine City. That's the rental lab, isn't it? We need to use the air balloon at this point. Let's move those into sensible positions. I reckon Jasmine will be absolutely fine right about now. I can't see her being any problem. What's she going to do? Hit us with a Sonic Boom? If her Magnemite even survives, I very much doubt she is going to survive the battle. We will take on Sorrel at this point though, just because I do want to get that little bit of extra special stat experience. Getting hit quite so hard by Bayleaf in Rival 3 has given me a little bit of the spooks, so I will then try and get a little bit more extra special stat experience with a couple of different battles here and there. But now we'll take on Jazz. She's Gym Leader number 6, a Steel-type Specialist, leads with Magnemite. We outspeed the Magnemite, of course we do, we one-shot it. So we are just battling against this Steelix. We will go for a Surf to begin with. She uses Sunny Day. We're going to use a Surf then, and we'll just swap to Earthquake now. Iron Tail's going to do nothing, and we do defeat her on our first try. It really sucks to be Jasmine when you've got a Water Ground type Pokemon facing you. There's literally nothing she can do there to make the battle winnable for herself. So we'll feel sorry for her as we start doing the housekeeping. We also decided to plough on ahead and get through the Mahogany Underground section here. Nothing of importance happened at all, as always, and we did get through very, very quickly. With that though, we can get into our next gym. This is Price's Ice-type gym. He is going to be Gym Leader number 7 today, and he leads with Seal. We'll put Earthquake in top spot, and it is a one-shot. It's going to be a two-shot here on the Dugong. Aurora Beam does not drop our attack, not that it matters anyway, because we'll surf all over the Piloswine. And yet again, Price is showing that he needs to go back to Gym Leader school. I really don't understand how he got his job. Can somebody tell me what Price dared to do to get qualified to be a gym leader here? I know that the gym leaders in Johto are not known for their competence, but he is on another level entirely. I've started picking up that Max Revive, by the way, because it's 2,000 Pokédollars to sell, so it's an awful lot of cash money moolah when we go back to the Goldenrod department store in just a moment. Definitely worth picking up. Now, during the first housekeeping, I did end up spending a lot of money and maxed out our special stat with Calcium. I went in to Mount Mortar, picked up the extra PP up and the Carbos that live in the middle room there. Only takes about 25 seconds to do, and that has bolstered our special as high as it can possibly go. So now we are in the best possible state, not only for our Surf and our Ice Beam making a lot of damage, we're also not going to be taking quite as much damage from those grass type moves as we were before. There is unfortunately a little bit of a glitch in Generation 2 where your special defense won't get boosted by the badge boost from Price if it's between certain values, and most times when we do challenges we end up being within those certain values, so we do need to boost it as much as we can by other means. Now there's the bike shop call, very late today. They must have been in a tunnel or something, not had very good reception on their phone, because we've been here a while, so I don't know why they're waiting quite so long, but we're happy they've called us, and we no longer have the bike on our conscience. And now that we've been through the ice path, we'll make our way back to Goldenrod and into the basement for the fourth and penultimate rival battle. This time he is going to lead with his Golbat. We are going to try setting up Amnesia. We are going to end up confused either way, annoyingly, but I'm just hoping that we can get off a couple of Amnesias and break through the confusion fairly quickly. Just like that, although we are only on 64 HP as the Meganium comes out. We're confused no more, but we have been poisoned. We knock out Meganium, we're on to Sneasel. Sneasel uses Quick Attack, but Earthquake does one-shot it. Up next is Haunter, we outspeed and we one-shot, and then the last Pokemon is Magnemite. Nice and easy finish to what could have been a very hairy rival number 4 there. We do just about make it through though. Let us use one of our full heals and we'll also use a couple of super potions. Get ourselves back up to fighting fitness. Now the rival is really terrifying in these challenges when you do have that quad weakness like I've mentioned a couple of times. I think QUAGSIRE really does epitomise the danger that the rival can pose if you have a slow Pokemon with a quad weakness to one of his types. You normally see it combined with the ground or the rock type. You see it with things like Rhydon when we did its challenge. The rival was absolutely bloody awful. We also saw it with Magcargo, of course, and QUAGSIRE falls very heavily into that group as well. So I do think that is in and of itself going to hold QUAGSIRE back from the best possible time that it might have in another challenge, but I think in this one we're still going to get a very good time. QUAGSIRE is actually one of those Pokemon I do eventually want to run around Gen 1 or Gen 3 Kanto. I think it'd be very fun to do that, just to see where the difference in the struggles lie, because there will still be struggles, they'll just be in completely different places. I have started the work, and it's very early work, for converting Pokemon Yellow into a 4 moves challenge kind of environment. So that is something I'm looking forward to in the latter half of the year. And now we have made it to the very top of the radio tower. That means there is just one executive left to go, and he has a glaring weakness to the ground type, so we're going to take full advantage of that. We are going to use 3 Earthquakes for 3 one-shots, and we have disposed of Team Rocket once and for all in another challenge. That means we can get the clear bell and we can start heading back down the tower. We are not going to need the pink bow from Marie today. We don't have any normal type moves, so that means it's just a brief little survey here at the radio tower. I love how quickly they get back into their job. Real consummate professionals here in the Johto radio tower. Can highly recommend them. We'll now take a trip into Blackthorn City once more, where we have the next gym. This is Claire's Dragon-type gym, and do you reckon actually, when Claire was talking to the League about what she wanted her gym design to be, she was like, well, I want people to think I'm really hot, and they took it very literally. They were like, aha, we have just the plan. Cinnabar Island's erupted, we can bring you lots of magma there. That'll be incredibly hot for you. I'm sure it'll be very much in line with what you're wanting. And then the League got the wrong end of the stick, and Claire's far too polite to say anything. So she's decided from this point onward she's going to stop being a social liar, and she's just going to say exactly what's in her mind, whether it's appropriate or not, and that's why she throws a strop when you defeat her to get her badge. That's what I think anyway. It could just be an absolute load of nonsense. But that is one possible explanation for both Claire's behaviour and the layout of this gym. Let's get ourselves ready now for Claire herself. She is a Dragon-type specialist, gym leader number 8, and she leads with Dragonair. We're just going to Earthquake these Dragonair. We don't need to use Ice Beam. Earthquake is a one-shot in and of itself, so we'll get rid of all 3 of those. We were never going to be paralysed anyway. And then we'll start off with an Ice Beam against the Kingdra as she double smoke screens. How horrible of her, but it doesn't matter anyway. We get Ice Beam into Earthquake, no healing loop, no damage at all. Claire, you're right to throw a strop. Mind your step on the way out, don't fall into the lava. We do need to get to the Pokemon League. In the meantime, we will go and beat up Darren. Darren is our least favourite trainer here in the challenges, so it's always a pleasure to give his Dragonair what for. We'll grab this Max Elixir, we'll make our way through the Whirlpool eventually. Goodness me, my movement there was not good. And into the Dragon Shrine we go. We've already done this questionnaire. It is double 1, 2, 1 and 2, except this time we have 3 answers instead of 2. That will prompt Claire to come in to the Dragon Shrine. And even though we've had a few resets, we're still getting sub 45-minute Claire with QUAGSIRE. That is really, really, really good. We're going to get Dragon Breath from Claire. Unfortunately, she does suffer from halitosis and she does like passing it on. And now today, because I've used a lot of PP restoration items, I'm going to grab that extra Max Elixir from around the corner. Could come in handy because we are running 2 moves with just 10 PP. So let us now start making our way towards the Pokemon League. Go up this waterfall and down at the other side. Past Megan, we don't want to take her on, but we do now need to use another Super Repel. What trainer should we take on? We'll take on Rena. I think that will be a fairly easy battle for us. Bubble Beam's not going to do too much. We'll grow to level 47, and we'll then outspeed the next one, and the last Nidoqueen has nothing at all for us as well. Let's get back on the water and let us ignore all the other trainers. We'll take our quick PP heal here in the house, and we must remember that Joyce is one of the worst people on the planet. Generally a terrible human being, not just because she's a spinner, she also smells. Anyway, let us take on Beth. We have to. She's got a Rapidash. She's also got no brain if she thinks that agility against QUAGSIRE is an appropriate move. We won't hold it against her though, and we'll do the loop-de-loop to get the Max Elixir. We'll go in to Victory Road now, stick on another Super Repel, and we'll make our way towards the final rival battle. Should be a fairly easy rival battle this time. He's going to lead with Sneasel, and that's kind of a bad Pokemon to lead with. Gives us lots of free setup. So he does lead with Sneasel. We'll take this opportunity to use a couple of Amnesias, and then we will Earthquake away the Sneasel. One hit and away it goes. On to the Meganium we go. We outspeed and we freeze, so we didn't need to use bloody Amnesia after all of that. Always the way, isn't it? We outspeed the Golbat and hit it with an Ice Beam. We'll swap to Earthquake for the Kadabra as it uses Future Sight. We will use Earthquake on the Magneton, and the last Pokemon is Haunter. It swears at us, we don't even take the Future Sight damage, and we get through first try. Just shy of 46 minutes for our final rival split. We are now going to grab ourselves a bunch of full restores, and we'll park ourselves in front of the league. We'll look at our stats and do some predictions. And so going into the league, we are level 48. We're holding the Quick Claw, and our 4 moves we chose at the start of the challenge are Earthquake, Ice Beam, Amnesia, and Surf. We have 168 HP, 116 in attack, 112 in defense, 103 in the specials, but just 66 in speed. Now don't forget, those are just the out of battle stats. We will get a big buff in battle in a moment against Will. As we're going through the league, I think it'll be a bit of a mixed bag, to be perfectly honest with you. I think there will be some struggles against certain trainers. I think Will Slowbro could prove to be a little bit problematic, but then at the same time I think we will be bulky enough to survive a lot of the battles. I think if we get through, it will be a bit of a slog, but we still will make it through. With that, let's restart the timer and let's get in there. First league member is Will. He is a Psychic type specialist, leads with Xatu. We're going to use an Ice Beam against Xatu. We end up being confused, but we knock it out in one. Up next is Executor. We're confused no more, and Ice Beam does the work. Here comes Jinx. She's got no physical defense. Misclick there, so we'll swap to Earthquake in its place. We are probably going to 2 or 3 shot this Slowbro, depending on what it uses. It uses Amnesia, we will absolutely take that, and then a tiny bit of Psychic from Xatu. Really does mean nothing in the end. Will down, on to Koga next. He is our second league member. He is a Poison type specialist, and he leads with his Ariados. Now, I reckon Earthquake has the best chance of one-shotting Ariados, but even then, it did not quite do it. So we'll surf over it to finish it. Earthquake, again, here is probably the best choice against the Venomoth. Once again, though, we low roll and we've been Toxic. That's not very good for us, especially because he can Toxic Stall. I am going to use one of our full restores now, actually, get ourselves back up to full health, and we'll try again. This is Koga for the second time. Let's see if we get better ranges this time. We crit the Ariados on to the Venomoth. We go Toxic misses, and we get the better range. Sometimes you've just got to take a reset, and it changes the outcome of the entire battle. 2 shots on Fortress prevents it becoming a bomb, and then we'll use an Ice Beam against this Crobat. There's not much really we can do against Crobat, so we're just going to keep brute forcing it, and it will eventually disappear. We have the Muck left to go. We'll use another Earthquake, and we do get through on our second attempt for Koga. 4750. Third up is Bruno, the fighting type specialist, who's going to lead with Hitmontop. We are going to set up an Amnesia just because we need to waste a turn, and then we can use Earthquake to one-shot the Hitmontop. We'll use Earthquake against the Hitmonlee. We've been swaggered. Oh dear. That might not be great. And a crit. Oh, he might have outplayed us here. We get hit by Muck Punch, 12 HP. It depends if we outspeed everything. If we do, we win. If we don't, we lose. It's looking like we might just about have this in the bag. Oh, Bruno, you idiot. Didn't quite work in the way you were hoping there, did it? No, I did pick up an extra rare candy, so we have 6 candies for Karen. We'll use all of them straight away, so we're getting ourselves up to level 57. Use a full restore, then we'll use the HP up, and we will hold on to one of our bitter berries. I'm going to move the full restores up to a higher bag slot as well, and we'll take her on. This is Karen, the final league member, a dark type specialist, leads with Umbreon. I'm going to try Ice Beam on turn 1. Sand Attack has hit frustratingly, but we can finish it off on turn number 2. Ice Beam would one-shot that Vileplume there, but unfortunately we missed. I'm going to use a Max Elixir as well, just in case. This is Karen for the second time, Dark-type Specialist, leads with Umbreon. Let's just go for Earthquake. She's gone for Feint Attack, but she has crit. That doesn't matter. It does mean we're back on to the Vileplume. Ice Beam's a one-shot, so there is the big threat gone. We'll use another Ice Beam against her Murkrow, and now she's got 2 Pokemon weak to ground. We'll Earthquake the Houndoom, it will go down in 1. Gengar comes out to play, it swears at us, it's all over for Karen. We have defeated her very, very, very easily there, just a couple of attempts. Get back up to full health, and we'll take on Lance. He is the liar with the flyers, and he's going to lead with Gyarados. Gyarados really is going to be the worst of the Pokemon here. He's gone in for a critical hit Hyper Beam, which is very mean, but we can 3-shot it away. Dragonite number 1 comes out to play, and yet again we've been Hyper Beamed, down to only 52 HP. Another Hyper Beam takes us down to 3. We are going to have to take a reset. Let's try that again, shall we? I've swapped to the Quickie C in this attempt. Hopefully that'll be a little bit better. No crits from the Hyper Beam this time, and we crit the Gyarados back. Back onto Dragonite number 1. He goes for Twister. We knock it out, so we're on to Dragonite number 2. We get the Quick Claw proc, and Ice Beam does KO. Here comes the third Dragonite. He locks himself into Outrage. We can one-shot, and we get ourselves on to the Zard. Wing Attack doesn't do too much. We will surf it away. And then the last Pokemon is Aerodactyl. He crits with Wing Attack, but it's all over for Lance. We grow up to level 59, and we have defeated Lance in 51 minutes on the nose. Considering that was a very, very scrappy league, I am not unhappy with that time. Let us now get our final Hall of Fame time for this challenge of 51 minutes and 15 seconds. And with that, we'll take a look at the midpoint leaderboards. So if we start off with our 4 moves leaderboard, we're slap bang in the middle in 15th place, in between Tentacruel and Furret there. Absolutely no shame in a 15th place finish for our Quagsire. I'm very, very happy with that placement. Of course, there's no change to the front page there. And if we put it on our overall Crystal leaderboard, it's in the same place as well. This time in between Zangoose and Furret in 23rd place. That is a very, very, very significant improvement over our last time with QUAGSIRE. In fact, our last time through the Hall of Fame with QUAGSIRE was 1 hour 35 minutes and 40 seconds. So it has made a bunch of places up the leaderboard. It's gone from, what page would that be? Page 5 or 6 on to page 2. We can be very, very proud of ourselves with the first part of this challenge. In fact, you can see it on this page here in 202nd place. But this is, of course, only half of the story. We still do have another 8 gym badges plus the red fight left to come, so everything is still to play for with our QUAGSIRE challenge. Took us half an hour to get through Kanto last time. Let's see if we can beat that this time, so don't you dare go anywhere. Kanto is next. And now we are rejoining the action as we always do here in Vermilion City, where the first thing we're going to do is grab a rare candy from the chairman of the Pokemon Fan Club. And with that safely tucked away in our bag for another challenge, we're about to embark on our Cantonian Gauntlet of Gym Leaders. We are, of course, going to start here in Vermilion City with Lieutenant Surge. Absolutely no sense in not taking him on now. We are immune to his typing. He's right here in the neighbourhood. So let's take him on. He is an electric type specialist, of course, who's going to lead with his Raichu. Now, we're not going to outspeed much, if anything, in this gym, but it shouldn't really matter too much. We're using our physical moves as opposed to our special moves, so light screen means nothing. We do get an outspeed against the Magneton, and of course, we are still holding on to the Quick Claw, so there is a chance we might outspeed, or Double Team is just meaningless. Either works for me. That is Surge defeated in 53-36. Let's leave here now and we'll take a trip up north towards Saffron City. Now, I still think it's worth taking on Sabrina now. We're never going to be able to outspeed her Pokemon, so we've just got to deal with the nonsense of potentially getting a sand attack here. This is Sabrina. She is Gym Leader number 2. She leads with Espeon. Yep, there's the sand attack. We one-shot Espeon though, eventually. Out comes Mr. Mime. We are going to Earthquake, followed by a Surf because it set up barriers. It was probably going to go in for a Baton Pass there. And then we will Surf the Alakazam. She's going to get in a healing loop. We just need one more Surf to hit, and then it will be done. There we go, Sabrina finished, and Marsh Badge acquired in 54-25. We'll get out of here. Now we will teleport back to the Pokemon Center, and we will actually do a very quick PP heal because we were starting to run a little bit low on our old PP there. Into Celadon City we go. We are going to pick up both the leftovers, and I do want the PP up from the bush in this particular challenge. We're going to use the PP up straight away on Earthquake. I do also think, yep, there is an iron that I had left over, and I'm going to swap to the lefties at this point. I think having bulk is going to be much more important than having the chance to attack quickly in this second part of the challenge. Now, the good thing is, we are not in that bad a condition for the grass type gym. All of these early trainers will be fairly easy to KO. We've got Ice Beam, which is going to be super effective against everything, so we don't need to worry quite as much as we otherwise would have had to. Plus, you've got to remember the grass type in Generation 2 doesn't really have a good single turn attacking move. That didn't happen until much later on in the generations. If she wants to hit us, she's going to probably have to use something like Solar Beam, and we've got Ice Beam, and that will KO before Solar Beam gets a chance to hit. She leads with Tangela, we outspeed, and we one-shot with an Ice Beam. Up next is Jumpluff. We do get Leech Seeded, but it's not going to mean much in the grand scheme of things. Here comes a Victory Bell, and there goes a Victory Bell. The last Pokemon is Blossom. We outspeed, we one-shot, so we do defeat Erica incredibly easily. That is the only gym where we have the type weakness, and we absolutely aced it. Let us now keep on progressing forward. Our next destination is going to be Fuchsia City. we are going to take on Birdkeeper Bob, the single mandatory trainer for Janine. I don't know why she's kicked him out of the gym, though. He is a very easy one-shot because he's only got a Knock Towel. And then we'll make it into gym number 4. This is Janine. She's a poison-type specialist, and she's going to lead with Crobat. Unfortunately, we don't outspeed the Crobat, so we have been supersonicked. Up next is Ariados. We're no longer confused. We one-shot it, and we grow up to 62. Let's plonk Earthquake back in top slot now as we knock out the Venomoth. Here comes Weezing, there goes Weezing, and we have just one more Pokemon left. That's all she's got today for Janine. Soul Badge acquired in 57 minutes and 5 seconds. We're already half of the way through our Cantonian leaders. We will use the Rentalabra now to get back to Saffron City. And we'll start our cycle east towards Lavender Town and Rock Tunnel. We're going to get off the bike there. And then if we wait a beat, I've got to remember to wait a beat for Super Nerd Tom after going past his left. That's how we get through him very quickly. We'll one-shot Machamp, and I'll see you on the other side of this cave. There we go, we're through Rock Tunnel, and I have done another PP pit stop in the Route 10 Pokemon Center. We'll surf down into the power plant now, and we get the repel wearing off there. That's not bad at all. We will now have a little chat with the manager of the power plant. That's all we can do for now. We need to be on the hunt for a machine part. I wonder where it could be. Could it be in a Cerulean City? Who knows? It's a complete mystery. We'll have to try and find out. Oh, would you look at that? Somebody suspicious looking is coming out of this gym. We'll give him time to make his escape, although he's not very clever. He's gone for an escape on a dead end. And in the meantime, we'll take on good old Nugget Bridge. Now, in this one, I do want to talk a little bit about the move choices for 4 moves, because quite often I get caught in a trap before recording where I think, oh, this move is going to be really good for this situation. Like, very, very much so until the second I started recording where I picked up the moves. I was going to go for Sludge Bomb on our QUAGSIRE because it would be running off our stronger physical attack as opposed to our weaker special attack, and it would still be super effective against the rival's grass type starter. However, then we come into the situation, what do we do for Lance? We don't have anything for Lance there, and we saw just how badly Lance beat us up with a few Hyper Beams. So it really is one of those things with 4 moves, you've got to find the best 4 moves for the overall challenge. And that's what I really love about this series. You can get yourself out of so many pickles by constantly changing learn set in a standard challenge run. And that is fun, but I've done that for a very long time. This is now trying to test my overall knowledge of the game to try and find the best fit, and there's never going to be a perfect fit for the course of the challenge, and that's the beauty of 4 moves. I really, really love this series, and I can see me trying to get a complete Pokedex, or as close as we can, with the 4 move series going forwards. With that though, we'll now take on Misty. She is a water-type specialist, gym leader number 5 here in Kanto. She leads with Golduck. We one-shot the Golduck with an Earthquake, we one-shot her QUAGSIRE with an Earthquake, and out comes the Lapras. It's not a one-shot, and she started singing. This could be bad. If we hit ourselves in confusion, it would be over, but we don't. We grasp victory from the jaws of defeats there, and we obtain the Cascade Badge in 1 hour and 49 seconds. That was about as well as I could have hoped Misty to go, really. We didn't end up getting a reset there. I was planning for a reset or 2 at Misty, but at the same time I don't think it would have been worth saving her for later. The extra movement would have taken longer than taking a very quick reset. We'll return the machine parts to the manager of the power plant now. We'll go into Lavender Town. We'll have a little chat with the director of the radio tower to get the X-Men card, and now we can make our way over to Vermilion City. Here in Vermilion, we are going to wake up the pesky Snorlax with the Pokeflute, and then we will run away like an absolute bloody wimp. Let's cycle through Diglett's Cave now, out the other end, And we will say hello and goodbye to 3 Drill. Didn't want to point it out, but that was some of the best movement I've had from the Misty to Brock section. I didn't want to point it out in case I jinxed myself, but yeah, that was really good movement, even if I do say so myself. This is Brock. He's gym leader number 6 here in Kanto. He 6, 7? One of them. I can't remember. I can't count. He is a gym leader here in Kanto. He's a rock type specialist. He is also friggin' annoying doing that protect. Oh, I've been talking about protect for quite some time at Brock, and he's finally gotten round to doing it. And I've messed up. I shouldn't have used Earthquake there. Oh, it doesn't matter. I thought we still had Kabutops left to go. Never mind. 102.27 for the Boulder Badge. We'll say hello and bye to 3 Drill once more. We'll chop down this tree. And now we'll go through here. Into the bag we go in Viridian City. What do I want to use? A Max Repel. We'll use one of our Max Elixirs as well, and then we'll Air Balloon in to Viridian. That bit of movement is really, really useful, by the way, because not only do you have to open the bag anyway to put on a Repel down here, it also means that you're saving some really tricky movement with a ledge. We'll have a little chat with Blue and pick up the rare candy. And then we only have 2 more gym leaders left to go. We have, of course, Blaine and Blue. And Blaine is in for one of the worst days I think he'll ever have. He's going to lead, of course, with his Magcargo. We'll use Earthquake. We knock it out in 1. Up next is Rapidash. It uses Fire Blast. It doesn't burn. And we one-shot again. Here comes the Bumhead Fire Duck. There goes the Bumhead Fire Duck. Thank you, Blaine, for a very, very easy battle. Volcano Badge acquired. Let us now get the heck out of here. Back to Viridian. I am going to do a very quick heal in the Pokemon Center. And we'll cycle round to Blue's gym. Blue is the final gym leader of the challenge. A mixed type specialist who's going to lead with Pidgeot. Oh, do we risk an Amnesia? Yes, I think we do. He's going in for Wing Attack. Then we'll go for an Ice Beam. There's the bloody Amnesia. But we have frozen it. Pidgeot's frozen solid. We knock it out in 2. Executor comes out second. I doubt we're going to one-shot, but we could just one-shot and make me out to be a liar. He doesn't even go for his Reflect there. This is going very, very well so far. In fact, a little bit too well. Hydro Pump's not going to do much, and we'll just crit the Gyarados. Why not? Why not crit the Gyarados? That sounds like a good idea, and Hyper Beam means he recharges. We can use a Surf on this Rhydon. It will disappear in the blink of an eye. We grow up to level 66, and what's Arcanine going to do? Absolutely nothing. We get rid of it in 1 hit, and we have a very easy Blue. Goodness me, I don't even want to say he threw. I think he was just dense. Let's go to Pallet Town now. I was expecting a couple of resets there as well. Just shows how overpowered Amnesia can be. We'll chat with Oak, we'll unlock Silver Cave, we'll stick on our final Super Repel, and we'll go back to Viridian City. We are going to try and get past the hardest ledge in the game, just like that. And now we have just 1 more item that we want to pick up, that being the rare candy. Do want to dip into that Pokemon Center, by the way, just so that we can TP back, because even though we're just down the road, it's counted as a different region. But right now, I will put in our 4 rare candies, I'll heal up, and I will meet you for Red. I didn't have the smoothest room getting through there, but we did make it through the other side of Silver Cave, and we are now in front of Red himself. Now, this battle isn't going to be the easiest battle in the world. We have a few ways we can play it. One of those ways is to set up Amnesia against the Pikachu, knock it out, and then set up another Amnesia against the Venusaur, depending on what Venusaur does. Or we can just try doing triple Amnesia and maybe take a Charm off the Pikachu. I'm not sure what's going to be best, but we will see right now. This is Red, the final trainer of the challenge. He leads with Pikachu. Interesting, he goes straight in for the switch there. We're going to set up 3 Amnesia, but Solar Beam still hits like an absolute bloody truck. Goodness me. That's not good. That is not good at all. Right. Amnesia. Quick attack's fine. We can deal with quick attack. In fact, we want to see quick attack over charm. We've set up 3 Amnesia. We go in for Earthquake, and we do get the KO. Up next is Venusaur once more. He uses Sunny Day because he can't see the one-shot. That's not great. Solar Beam deals a lot of damage, but we do get through it. Here comes Espeon. We are going to use Earthquake. Reflect was always going to happen there, unfortunately. He's going in for Psychic, but Psychic's not going to do too much. I think we are playing for a freeze here at Snorlax, ideally. If we can freeze the Snorlax, we are in with a shout. It's as simple as that. We don't get it. We take a reset. Yeah, this isn't a particularly pleasant battle for our QUAGSIRE. We can potentially do something like that if he swaps. On to the Espeon we go. Now we are going to need to set up our Amnesia. We want to try and boost our Spadef as much as possible, while also wasting turns for his Reflect. We got a Spadef drop there. That isn't great, but we can deal with it. Back onto the Snorlax we go. I'm going to go straight in for the Ice Beam again. I'm fishing for the freeze. I think the freeze is going to be the best play. I really, really do. If we freeze it, then we are going to have an easy end to the battle. It's as simple as that. Amnesia turn 1. He's quite consistently switching, though. Goodness me. Oh, I don't know how to play this because Red's not behaving how I expected him to. Charm has failed there. We get through Pikachu. On to the Venusaur once more. He takes in Sunlight. We need him to switch if we lead with Earthquake. It's as simple as that. If he doesn't switch, then we are screwed. And it's hard to tell what is more likely. Look, this time he has done the switch. That means that Venusaur could be free, although it's a range. Goodness me. Ooh, this is a really, really tricky red fight. I think we do double Amnesia into Earthquake, get rid of the Pikachu in 1, and then we'll see what Venusaur does here with a double Amnesia. He still uses Sunny Day. That is not what I was wanting to see, really. So if we do need to do the triple Amnesia at Pikachu. Good to know. He's withdrawn this time. That's not good for us. Look at that. It does so much damage. We're fishing for a freeze and we don't get it. And we take a reset. I think this one's just going to be all about the perseverance, you know. We will eventually get the luck that we need. The lack of consistency is a little bit frustrating, but there is nothing we can do about that. I am going to reorder these moves, though. I am going to move Ice Beam into slot number 1 for now. I think that's going to be a much more useful move to keep in that top slot. And now he's going for Charm consistently. I wish I could understand what he wants to do. I really do. Ice Beam is good, because that means that he should at some point heal just like that. Oh, bloody hell, you still Charm in the end. Oh, Red, you're being very annoying today. Let's change side, change of luck. You never know, this could be the solution to getting through. Charm fails, and we've frozen the Pikachu. He uses a full restore, but we will use this to set up triple Amnesia, and then we'll finish off with an Earthquake. We're going to be around about full health for the Venusaur coming out now. We are going to go in for an Ice Beam, and we are looking for the high rolls, really. That's all we can do, and we're not getting them. Solar Beam hits us, and we get a reset. Yeah, I think we have to freeze the Venusaur so that we can set up against it, and hope that we don't get charmed in the meantime. It's not a great thing to happen at Red, but that is what we need to do. Oh, and now he's gone for the switch. And we two-shot when we don't need to two-shot. When we'd much rather actually bolster our defences, we ended up two-shotting. We'll use triple Amnesia here, get ourselves all the way up though. And then we'll Earthquake this Espeon. Hopefully the Reflect will fade fairly soon. It's not like we're taking that much damage. We knock it out. We're looking for the freeze against the Snorlax here. Are we going to get it? Not on turn 1. Do we on turn 2? Nope. Do we on turn 3? Absolutely not. Of course we don't. We've got a plan now, though. It's not a very solid plan, but it is a plan nonetheless, and it will eventually get us through. Charm is super annoying if you're using your physical attack against red as well. Genuinely so frustrating. Through the Pikachu, on to the Venusaur we go. He takes in sunlight, we don't freeze, we take a reset. It's as simple as that. 1 in 10 and we will get it, but it's not 1 in 10, it's like 1 in 40, because we've also got to dodge the charm. Oh great, he's gone for this strategy this time. We get through the Venusaur though, and we are on to Espeon. We'll use our triple amnesia against the Espeon here, but he has to crit. Of course he crits. Why would he not crit? Oh, flaming hell. Earthquake on this, and he's back to switching for some reason. At least it's quite often a consistent 2-shot, unless it's not just like that. Oh, this one is really starting to get on my nerves. I do still think the best play is to try and freeze this Venusaur. It will happen eventually, and it is fairly quick if we don't. That's one of the upsides at the very least. We have to take a reset if charm happens, no two ways about it. Because we do need our physical attack to brute force some of the Pokemon, especially the Blastoise later on. There goes Pikachu once more, on to the Venusaur. We try the Ice Beam. We do not get the freeze. I hate having to play around freeze chances, but it really is our best chance of getting through. I don't think there is any other way that we'd be able to get through this battle fairly easily. It's just the luck of the draw. And as we've seen in some runs, you get the luck very quickly. In other runs, you don't. To be fair, I've been very, very, very lucky lately. So I have been overdue one of these types of red battles where it does all just go all kinds of wrong. But that's kind of the fun of doing the challenge runs. You never know how a run is going to finish. I would have hoped by now we would have had a single freeze on either the Venusaur or the Snorlax though. So it's starting to very much annoy me. Maybe this will be the one. But then again, maybe not. It is! We've frozen the Venusaur, now we... Oh, for God's sake! I can't believe he's done that. He defrosted straight a bloody way. That's not what we were wanting to see in the slightest. There's still a chance, it's not a great chance. We need to freeze this Snorlax. If you don't laugh, you bloody cry, and we've been paralysed. I did end up taking a bit of a break after that red fight there, and I ended up just doing it with my microphone switched off, because I was getting pretty peeved at that point. We do end up just brute forcing our way through red. It's not a clean battle by any stretch of the imagination. We get the 2 shots just about on the Venusaur here after setting up Amnesia, and we're on 128, going up to 139 as the Espeon comes out. We do a lot of damage with Earthquake on the Espeon, and we survive for the Snorlax. Here is the game-changing bit of luck, though. We crit the Snorlax, and that means that we can 2-shot it without having to freeze it. Blastoise comes out, and I am terrified of being hit by a crit from Surf, so I just start spamming Ice Beam at it. We eventually get a lucky freeze, and I stall. I think this is the best way to guarantee getting through, because as we saw with the Venusaur, it could thaw out at any moment. I want the highest possible health for the Zard. We recover up to 202, we start using Surf, and then 2 shots later we have finally defeated Red in a time of 1 hour, 18 minutes and 54 seconds. Goodness me, what a horrible red fight that was, but let's now take a look at the final leaderboards. And that time of 1:18:54 does put us in 26th place on our 4 moves leaderboard, in between Corsola and Magneton there. Quite honestly, I think that's fairly fair for how we finished it. Still Mewtwo, Charizard and Dodrio on the podium, and Snorlax had better watch out there being in the page 1 drop zone. If we now take a look at the overall final leaderboard, we can see we've made it on to page number 3. In between that pesky Venusaur and Jinx there in 81st place. I still think that is a very, very respectable time for our QUAGSIRE. We made a huge improvement on our last QUAGSIRE time. It was a much, much smoother run. We worked around the constraints of the 4 moves challenge, and we ended up in sub 120. Do you remember at the start of the challenge I said I was hoping for sub 130? So I did even better than I thought QUAGSIRE could do in this challenge. You might have seen it there on the previous page as well. 204.53 was the last time for QUAGSIRE, so he shaved an awful lot of a run time off. Once again, it is still Dodrio, Charizard and Mewtwo on the front of page 1 with Staraptor in the drop zone. With that though, we are done for this video. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you have, make sure to leave a like, of course. Leave any feedback in the comments down below. Join the HM Friends if you want to see extra bonus videos, and if you don't, you can always just subscribe to the channel. Until next time though, I'll say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all very, very soon.